I don't anticipate that we're gonna see a increase in the amount of women who participate in S work. I think I'm sorry, I don't know what I can say on here.
That's fine.
Sex work.
That's not
Yeah,
crazy.
I
Um,
agree
Yeah.
with I agree with Pretty. It's
and
not gonna be.
the
You
reason
don't think the
why
women?
I don't is because OF is simply putting on a stage what has been happening behind closed doors. It is not more women just I'm quitting my job. I got gainfully employed for and decided to go to OF. No, that's not what's happening. It's simply that men are complaining because now women don't have to be under a man as the PIMP anymore. They're owning what they're doing and they are on an app and they're selling pictures of their toes for $500.
It would actually be odd if we didn't talk about divorce sometimes when we talk about marriage, just because it's a very probable outcome. It would be like teaching your kids about sex without teaching them how to protect themselves, right? Or understanding what the consequences could be, whether it be, you know, stars or offspring, right? There is a point that I wanted to kind of go back on. This is a little old, but still, I think we have to be more mindful of who we lie with, right, and who we decide to create offspring with. And but I think it's important to note that it's not a large group of men who are doing it, right? There's a very small group of men that are creating a very large portion of the children, right? So we're not, because I think that a lot of people get the idea that men are just, slinging sausage out here, and that's not really the case. Like, if the people who are, a good portion of us are protected. We're not all like just out here getting it in and getting everybody pregnant all willy nilly. But there's some people who do it a lot, right? And we've seen it, and we've held them accountable, including on this panel. That's not something that any of us that are present today support. So we give those men hell anytime we do see them, believe it or not,
You
because
talking about a man
that's
that's
just
going
as
around here infecting people? Or what are you talking about?
well. No, no, no. Like just having children
Oh,
recklessly.
oh yeah.
Yeah, we none of us really support that. We understand the importance of fatherhood. We champion for that. Like we support men who are great fathers. We encourage men to stay in their children's lives, and we try to encourage men to spread themselves thin rather than. We understand the whole be fruitful, but you don't want your children everywhere, right? Because you want to at least have the opportunity for them to be in the same household. So most of us really, that's how we really roll. And I know that we we have different ideas of what it is out here, and I understand the whole tricking thing, but that's something different, right? That's not where we're actually having children with those types of people, right? And it's a shame that there are some women who are objectified. I can't really stand behind it. I'm not going to go hard against the whole tricking aspect, but I can't really get behind it because of it's a shame that that's what we're looking at. A lot of the jobs are going away, so it's probably a harsh reality. It's probably a harsh reality within the anybody who's doing like the economic studies and looking at what's going on. I could see a lot of people are going to be doing things that are more nefarious. There are enough women that are quitting their lawyer jobs and teacher jobs to decide to do OF. So I could only imagine what'll probably happen when your back is against the wall. So yeah, I'm hitting a lot of head shaking. Somebody disagrees with the trends,
No, I agree.
the potential trends.
Lawyers
A
are
lot of people
quitting
want
their
to.
jobs to do OF.
Some are, yeah.
Female, yeah, a couple, right? Or is there?
Some are.
Where are
I
you?
didn't. I just said some are teachers. Other people who are in the professional world have found it
Teachers and
simpler,
lawyers are a far
more
cry. I will
efficient.
say they're just different because teachers are notoriously underpaid. Lawyers, no,
Some
they're
lawyers
not.
are underpaid as well. Not every lawyer is getting to the
I
money
got
like that. Depends on what type of law you do. the point is professionals. There are some professionals that have turned to it. So do you think that the trend is going to be an uptick or no? You don't agree that there's probably going to be more young ladies who will probably engage in this tricking you spoke about?
No,
Mm.
yeah, no, I don't anticipate that we're gonna see a increase in the amount of women who participate in S work. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Facts, bro. Facts. I agree with Trev, man. Your men are not out here just spreading their seed around just to any old women. Now, we get it. There are some Pookies and Ray Rays that we tell sisters to stay away from because they like to, they don't have a care in the world. So of course, they're just going to nut in anything, bro, and keep it moving. And they're going to leave you with the issue. They're going to leave you with the problem. And this is why we always try to tell women that, hey, you control access to your body. But it is just a fact that, I mean, it's just not, it's not reasonable for men to be going out here having kids all willy-nilly. Now, if you want to, if you want to have multiple wives, right, and you want to have multiple kids, not something that I would suggest any man do, right? But I'm not ever going to knock a man for doing it because, once again, biblically, it's happened. Men always have had multiple wives, right? When you see a man with multiple wives, it will always work versus a woman with multiple husbands. That shit never works, right? But, I my biggest thing, right, because I remember having a discussion with my uncle and we were talking about Cam Newton, Nick Cannon, right? Guys who are cool with spreading their seeds to every woman that they want, and the woman wants a child. They are okay with creating broken homes. Let's just keep it being one man, multiple women. And by the way, these are your college educated women. These women went to college. These women are smart. These women are this. These women are that. But they said they don't mind pushing that education to the side and saying, hey, well, I don't mind being a statistic. I don't mind being a single mother. What I have a gripe at is where they don't keep them in the same in the same area. You got Nick Cannon who has multiple wives. They all across the earth, right? So my issue, right, in the discussion that I had with my uncle, he was cool with it. He was like, man, look, hey, man, he has the money. They can take care of all those kids. And I just said, well, think about it from a kid's point of view. Think about it from a kid's point of view. You at home, everybody got a father, right? Everybody got a father, everybody got a mother, your friends over here, but then you see your father every single day. Well, what about Nick Cannon's kids? What about Cam Newton kids, right? And being that they're scattered all over the place, how often do you think they're going to be able to see their child? I don't think, man, the connection that you get when you're in person, you can get that over the phone. You can't get that over the phone. You can't get that through FaceTime, right? Now, once again, and you got to think about it, 7 kids to 12 kids. Let's just be real. If they're scattered all over the place, that means let's keep it a bean. If you're one of Nick Cannon's children, right, you're probably going to see that man one day out of the week, or you're going to see that man 1 week, right? For 1 week. 1 week you get to see this kid, the following week you get to see this kid. You're going to try to make and it's just too much, right? When I want to be able to wake up, because I should not be deprived. No kid should be deprived of a father. No kid should be deprived of their mother, right? But we're talking about men here. Should no kid be deprived of his father? But when you are openly just having kids all willy-nilly, I mean, yeah, granted you have the money. I mean, once again, let's just be smart about it. Have them all in the same area so those kids can see you every single day. But these guys are not doing that, and I think that is a detriment. And then here go pretty intellectual, being pretty dishonest, being pretty disingenuous. I mean, as she always do, acting as if teachers aren't out here doing OF. I mean, we literally seeing a bunch of teachers who are getting their jobs taken away from them because they're on OF. You have mothers who are who can't even drop the kids off to school because guess what? Their mothers are on OF.
So pretty and he like that.
Intimate images posted online, sparking a public discussion. The images ended up costing 35-year-old Kristen McDonald her day job as a teaching assistant in the Coquitlam School District.
I have a concern.
The district sending her a termination letter June 16.
I did expect it. There was still a part of me that was hopeful.
McDonald has been posting adult content to the internet under the pseudonym of Ava James. The single mother says her salary as an EA doesn't cover her expenses, so she turned to OnlyFans as a side hustle. Her employer, School District 43, caught wind of her online presence and demanded she stop and pull the images down. McDonald refused and went public with her predicament, arguing what she does in her private time is none of her employer's business.
Regardless of people's opinions and their, the way they feel, the morality of it all, I don't believe I deserve to lose my job.
According to School District 43, the termination notice was issued based on 6 reasons. The letter says, "Your misconduct in this matter is egregious. You have posted content that involves the sexualization of the school environment." According to the district, it was McDonald who made the private dispute public by going to the media. The school board writing, which promoted the connection between your Ava James alias to your identity as a district employee. Employment lawyers say while McDonald may have been the one to make the link with the district, the line between public and private here isn't as clearly defined as people might think.
She's not saying, I work at the Coquitlam School District, isn't that titillating, right? There's no connection between this fictional persona and her job.
School District 43 says it won't discuss individual cases. McDonald is filing a grievance of her termination. Aaron MacArthur, Global News.
This morning, controversy near Orlando after a Florida private school expelled 2 children over a dispute with their mother. At issue, a sticker on Michelle Klein's car promoting her OnlyFans page.
It's definitely linked to, explicit content, adult content for sure. My husband and I have this, little wild, behind closed doors lifestyle that we've now decided to share.
OnlyFans is an online platform often used by adult content creators to monetize photos and videos. Other parents at Liberty Christian Preparatory School are not fans of promoting that site.
That's a distraction to my children, and no matter how poorly or how good I parent, porn is there.
At first, the school asked Klein not to bring the car on campus unless the decal was removed and urged her to drop her kids off across the street.
I was forced to have to, take it off or not come on campus.
And then the school sent a letter saying your family's enrollment with LCPS is terminated effective immediately, accusing Klein of promoting a pornographic website, but still offering the possibility to re-enroll her kids if she removes the sticker.
Why not take the decal off?
And that would seem like an easy thing to say, for sure. But for me, it supports my family. This provides a very comfortable way of life for us. And it's legal. I pay taxes just like everyone else.
Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
I mean, the list goes on. A lot of women in today's time are being your OF models, are being Instagram models. I mean, you are starting to see a lot more women now, a lot more girls now. As soon as they hit 18, they jumping on OF. Pretty, how disingenuous are you going to be, right? I mean, like, man, and she's probably going to hit I'm not always on the internet. I'm not this. Man, just cut it out, right? You're around this stuff every single day. You're seeing it. You are seeing it. You're seeing how bad, quote unquote, men are, right? But yeah, you're not seeing how bad a lot of these women are. Come on. And then to try to make the excuse that, hey, well, teachers are different because they're underpaid. So that I guess that gives you the okay to go ahead and bust it open and start to, give your pictures and sell your body out to men. Just because, I need to make ends meet. I just gotta ask, are men doing the same thing? No, no, men just go out here and go get a second job. Men literally go out here and go get a second and third job. But it's only women who will sit here like pretty intellectual who will defend that. And, yeah, man, I mean, listen, bro, she's working as a teacher. She's highly underpaid. Nobody told her to be a teacher. Nobody told her to be a teacher. And then even if that's the case, once again, she's not the only one. There's a bunch of men who are going through the exact same thing, but they don't have an easy way out. They don't have an easy way out. Pretty dumbass. Literally a way to excuse the behavior just to be objectified and then cry and complain that you are being objectified. You're gonna have a bunch of women like Pretty who's gonna come on the internet, y'all men sitting over here objectifying women, y'all this, y'all that, y'all this, y'all that, but this is what a woman fought for. Like I said, it's just funny how people like pretty intellectual men are just so optimistic about women, right? You could sit here and have so much evidence, so much proof piled up in their face that, hey, the reason men divorce rates are high is because of women. The reason, man, a lot of these divorces are being initiated is because of these women. The reason marriage rates are low is because of how women are acting. You will literally have pretty intellectual women like her who will sit here and say, well, nah, I don't think that's true. I don't think women are going through that. It's like, dang, are you that? Why are you that optimistic? But yet, anytime a man come up, you just sit on here and just fry him. You just fry him. day in and day out. Even when he's in the right, you fry him. Now, once again, to her point where she says that, no, not many women are jumping on OF. I mean, once again, shout out to DJ Academics. He just got on these young girls who are in their 20s because now a lot of young women want to be streamers. They want to be escorts and streamers in OF, right? But they just only want to use the moniker that they're streamers, right? It's funny, right? But DJ Academics went back and forth with the chick who swear up and down, oh, well, I'm not being an escort, I'm not this, I'm not that, but proof is in the pudding.
I'm glad you said that. Well, so, by the way, I, at least so far, you seem like you could have a conversation. That's good. No one hurt me. I'm going to give you the context. And by the way, to correct you, I didn't speak necessarily as it was you. I think you're probably the known person in those group of girls, because I didn't know the other girls, that made the clip become viral that people were reacting to. People know you, at least in my world, for your association with No Cap, and because you recently were on a group trip with Trippie Redd, okay? And I do know you stream, so just to let you know. So my comments weren't necessarily about you. It was about the mentality that, in my opinion, I do think you have. The mentality that you guys are, or when I say guys, you women are attracted to men with a super duper high financial status that the regular girl that looks almost like you don't have those type of standards. And I'm telling them what comes with it, because it's, of course, okay, imagine me saying my type of woman is a 10 out of 10.
Okay, can I cut you off right quick?
You can respond, yes.
Listen, let me say this in the most respectful way. If you would have watched the whole clip, like, my homegirl, I told her stand on what she said, period, point blank. But I said 6 figures a year. You're putting words in my mouth. You're reacting. You spinning a narrative saying escort this, escort that. She gonna hop on, talk to this rapper, that rapper. That's you drawing a line.
Wait. Could we speak about that? Do you know what an escort is?
Fuck it for money. Who fuck it for money?
Not necessarily. That's not exactly what an escort is.
Just very, very dishonest. But let's continue.
What I can say on here.
That's fine. That's not crazy.
Yeah, I agree with it. I agree with Pretty. It's not gonna be.
The reason why I don't is because OF is simply putting on a stage what has been happening behind closed doors. It is not more women just, I'm quitting my job I got gainfully employed for and decide to go to OF. No, that's not what's happening. It's simply that men are complaining because now women don't have to be under a man as the PIMP anymore. They're owning what they're doing, and they are on an app, and they're selling pictures of their toes for $500.
Well, I got a different perspective.
Happy about that.
So
like that's
with that, go ahead. With that, I mean, well, the reason why I say trends, right? Because I'd say women have roughly 2 to 3 years left where that could actually be a sustainable income.
Well, look, Trev, if I could interrupt you, Trev, I got a different perspective on why I don't think. The reason why I don't think a lot of these women would transition from a steady employment like the such to OnlyFans because or any type of sex work, because it requires a peculiar type of physical leverage, a sex appeal that a lot of women is just not able to obtain. I mean, just for an example, if you take a high calorie woman, the level of monetary revenue she's able to obtain off getting her back blown out, it's not going to equate to stable income. She would have to downsize her physical aesthetics to be able to compensate for the amount of revenue that would come in if she was 50 or 60 pounds lighter, so to speak. So a woman transitioning would have to also compensate for the fact of what is selling in the tricking market. Man is just not paying for anything, not anything. If you want the big bucks enough to be able to sustain taking care of bills, utilities and stuff, your body got to be up to par. And a lot of women are just not willing to conform to that. So that's why I don't believe a lot of women can do it. The work ethic.
No. So the reason why, I was saying OF. The OF is going to be transitioned out pretty soon, and that's going to be people who are interested in STEM and programming these virtual girls. That's going to replace that. They're getting very close, and it's almost real women are almost obsolete.
AI is taking over OF too.
Yes, that's the point that I'm driving, is that there women, real women, in at least in that facet, are nearly obsolete. If you look at the numbers, it's bad. That's why I say some may have to transition to reality and go old school, because this was just, a fad at this point, just because of what's happening. Because when you think about it, it's not like it's real anyway, right? It's just through a screen. And if you understand the psychology of the younger men, particularly generation Z and Alpha, it's a different ball game. It's not the men that most of us know, Gen Xers and stuff like that. So it's a bit different. So some women will have to transition to doing it for real, or hitting the clubs, or throwing the heels on, whatever. Unfortunately,
I wanted to bring it back to the balance that Miss Pearl put on here, because I got a couple of things to where I agree with Miss Pearl said. When it comes to a marriage, there has to be a conversation, and a lot of people are not having those conversations that are needed to have to sustain a conducive marriage that's going to end up lasting long. Because the fact of the matter is, when you're getting married, you're going to transition through seasons, and you're going to, if you're not choosing to grow with each other, then you'll grow apart from each other. And I can see that both on the men and the women's side. Although I did want to say, as responding to Pretty, is that when women are having custodial rights over the children, if they would be willing to give men 50-50 custody truly, then, and remove the costs, because if the child is living with the mom and equally with the father, majority of the time I'm seeing that more men would actually parent equally. The fact of the matter is because custody actually resides more with the mother than with the father, that removes access to the father. And majority of men, when they divorce a woman, they don't want shit to do with her. But they do want to be able to be a father still. The fact that they can't comes from the mother, and the hard part of being able to still be present. Most men want to still be fathers. I did also want to point out, Bo, as much I before I say this, is I love and respect you dearly. Although what your circumstance was when you got divorced is not the majority of the average woman's circumstance. And I hear your example of women can pay, women do pay. That's not the average woman, not majority. And so that example of being able to use it with the average woman, it kind of sounds like it's way off put, because just like we keep saying, that's not the average man. Well, the average woman doesn't have what you have or what you have been able to attain. That was passed on to you. And the average woman doesn't have a home passed on to her. The average woman doesn't have the ability to like purchase a home. Majority of people, like we have said on this panel, they're renting their homes. So that's not the average circumstance that we can apply to the average person with the average couple. If we're going to speak to the point of the average person, majority of the time it's a woman and a man who maybe together collectively make anywhere from 70 to 90K, because most of them are able to retain the child tax credit at the beginning of the year. And then from that, boom, all kinds of other things that we don't need to go into that type of conversation. But that's who we're talking about. So just like we're talking about the average man, we can't sit here and use the example of, well, the woman can pay, that's just not normal. That's not what's happening like right now. And when we're talking about the average man does not have access to his child the way he desires. And we see it more and more because actually toward the statistic that Trev had said, 84% of men are actually dying alone or lonely. That also correlates with the fact that men make up 80% of the suicide rate in the United States of America. And so if we keep sitting here telling men, you don't matter, and it doesn't matter because of your choices and mistakes, then the opposite side of that would be to tell women, keep your legs closed on who you're allowing to dip, because the fact of the matter is a man doesn't have access to dip into a woman just like that. It's not by force. And if we want to talk about those statistics, that's something totally different. But just like we're sitting here telling on men like, hey, you don't matter because of A, B, and C. Well, then I guess majority of women also don't matter because they're just allowing men to just dip inside them raw, shoot up the club, and then them also knowing that a baby can come out of that.
When Pretty Intellectual always try to make it a man's issue as if men want bops up under them 24/7. Ma'am, no, we do not. No, we do not. We're not mad that these women are out here, man, selling their coos for $2.99 and now we can't have them up under our wing. We can't control them. Ma'am, we don't want to control those 304s because they're already being pimped out by the owner of OnlyFans. The owner of OnlyFans is pimping them out, right? So at the end of the day, if we ain't controlling them, somebody else is going to be controlling them. Yo, shout out, man, to Poor Man's Podcast because he broke it down so well, man, where you have a video of a woman. I mean, like, once again, these women are just off the chain. And he talks about how your owner of OnlyFans is just making all of this money off these women, right? That these women swear up and down that they're empowered. Oh, well, we're just on the app. We're just this. No, you're being pimped out. It's okay though. It's okay though. This is what y'all women accepted, right? This is what y'all women fight for. This is what women like Pretty Intellectual will be excusing. Oh, it's okay, man. You work at a freaking you work at a school district, man. Please come on, man. Go ahead and pop that bad boy open. And shout out to Darren. I mean, even though, right, it's not what Trev was pretty much hitting on. I mean, once again, guys, Kevin Samuel said it best. You've never seen a fat chick walk out of a limo, right? So I get it. And then when we're talking about this AI stuff, right? Shout out to Poor Man's Podcast again. I'm gonna see if I can put a description where he talks about, once again, he's literally reacting to a video where you have a bunch of guys now are going to be hip to you, to your ex dolls, right? To these dolls that now we don't really need these women. They got all these attitudes. You got to sit there and pay $40. Like, no, I can pay one time for this little doll right here. It do everything that I want it to do. No talk back, no disrespect. I mean, like, come on, bro. But once again, women will sit here and still try to say, well, it's men's fault. And just the fact that Naomi had to say all of that before actually, getting into Bo's ass. I mean, like, dog, it just shows how sensitive Bo is. It just shows how sensitive Bo is. And it just shows how we should just ignore that chick, right? Ignore that little girl. Bo is a little girl, right? At this point, she's just a little girl that then got divorced. Right? I mean, and once again, she hates talking about divorce, even though she probably was the one who initiated it. But I mean, hey, man, look, it is what it is. Y'all guys let me know down below, man. What do y'all guys think? Like I said, man, it's mighty sad because these women are creating the very problems they complain about. They don't like men objectifying them, but yet they out here dressing like, like they about to go to the strip club. They don't like men out here, looking at them a certain way, but yet they don't mind jumping on OF. They don't mind jumping in the industry. They don't mind doing all of this stuff, but yet they then get upset when people perceive them the way they are. Man, look, do me a huge favor. Let me comment, subscribe to the channel. Till the next one.